Hi, I'm Chris, and welcome to my podcast. I call it The Chris Show. I'm going to talk about things I've done, places I've been, and anything else I can think of. And welcome to The Chris Show podcast. I'm Chris Carlisle, your host. This week I want to talk about the time I worked at KCRM Radio in Cameron. That was back in 1989, and I thought I was starting a career in radio and maybe somewhere down the road, television. The station went off the air in November of that year, and I was never able to get on anywhere else. Of course, there were places I could have gone to, or there were opportunities that I didn't go to. Anyway, the year before, after graduating from high school, I went down to Houston and spent a summer going to the Columbia School of Broadcasting. Now, the Columbia School of Broadcasting was based in Los Angeles, and it had an office in Houston. It had offices all over the country, and DJs from some of the radio stations would work there as counselors, and you would make tapes. They would listen to it, critique it. You would redo it, and then they would critique that one and send that one off to L.A. or Hollywood or wherever. And some of the air personalities who worked out there worked as instructors for Columbia. In fact, one of them was the announcer for Arsenio Hall, kind of like his version of Ed McMahon. And another one, I think, did sports down out there, I think. Anyway, you learned how to do a DJ show, a newscast, commercials, and sports play-by-play. They had two mock-up radio studios, control rooms, that is, one AM and the other FM. The FM was in stereo. And we got to see what it was like to do on-air shift. Anyway, I got done with the course in January of 1989, the day after the Bush administration started. That's the old man. And it's also when KRXT was under construction in Rockdale, so I put in a sent a tape there, and figuring since it was a new station there'd be more opportunities to get on there, but I didn't get on there. I also applied at KTEM in Temple and KMIL in Cameron. My sister Pam was a senior at Rockdale High School at the time, and two of the DJs at KCRM went to school with her there, and she knew them. So towards the end of March, I took a tape to KCRM, and a few weeks later I was hired. KCRM was an FM station on 103.1 FM in stereo, with a country music format affiliated with ABC, and we also broadcast the Cameron Hill football games. My first shift was on a Friday night from 8 o'clock at night until 12 midnight. I was nervous, but I made it through the night. Now, the music that we played was on those old reel-to-reel tapes, and when I first rewound one of the tapes, that is, it broke, and I thought I had ruined it. But one of the other DJs came by to see how I was doing, and one of them fixed it for me, and everything turned out all right. Another shift I was working was the day we were running the American Country Countdown show with Bob Kingsley. The American Country Countdown, of course, is the country music version of American Top 40. Anyway, I listened to ACC for years on WBAP from Dallas-Fort Worth, and I thought it came off a satellite from the network. So when I got to the studio, I found out that it was on records. And my shift began during the middle of the countdown, and the record for the previous shift was almost over. So during a commercial break, I put on the next record, and when I played it on air, it wasn't the right one. I was like a few songs ahead in the countdown. Found out they weren't in order. Anyway, I was later moved to Sunday mornings from sign on until 12 noon. And about a month later, we got some bad weather in the area. Kind of like the bad weather we had the other day, where there was like some tornado around Salado. And also, I think one was reported by Fort Hood. There was some quite a bit of damage done in Salado. One night when I was on the air, ABC ran a report on their hourly national newscast about hurricane force winds in Bell County. I also worked overnights. My last shift that I started a few weeks before the station went off the air was an hourly from 8 p.m. until 12 midnight. I also was brought out for the Ojai High School football broadcast, and the station also broadcast the Texas A&M football games as well. And on Halloween, which is 2 days after my birthday, by the way, they gave me a pizza party. But anyway, on Halloween night, we broadcast the 1938 Mercury Theater of the Air with Orson Welles' broadcast of H.G. Wells' classic The War of the Worlds. That's the one where it was done like a newscast, and listeners who had turned in late to the program thought it was real, thought there was really an alien invasion going on. Of course, there's also when, kind of like right now, we got stuff going on in Ukraine, that's in Russia, that's back when Hitler was on the move in Europe. And then so they thought it was real, and they panicked. When that was over with, we broadcast a 1978 version of The War of the Worlds that was a musical, like a rock opera, and it had Richard Burton in the cast. Somebody called asking what we were playing. I said, War of the Worlds, even though I like the other one better. Anyway, we had done some surveys during the summer for some reason, and we also found out that the ownership was considering selling the station, and thought they had a buyer, but the potential buyers backed out at the last minute. Also went over there one day to the manager was going to show me how to do production so I could start doing commercials, which I never got a chance to do. I screwed up trying to mix the tape together, and we went off the air back in November of that year, of '89, before he could show me how to do it again. So we were out of work. I did go and apply and send tapes to KWTX Radio, which was still with was still with Channel 10, KWTX TV, and also WACO. And I didn't get hired. Now, KCRM did go back on the air in the spring of 1990, and I did go back to work there. We switched to an oldies format with new music mixed in. We went automated and ran mostly a daytime schedule, although I did have a shift on Saturday nights as well as one on Sunday afternoon. And during the summer of '89, since I mostly worked on weekends, I was able to go see some movies like Batman with Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, and Kim Basinger, as well as Star Trek V: The Final Frontier, and See No Evil, Hear No Evil with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. And, and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. I saw that one too. And, what else did I see? I think The Karate Kid 3 came out that year too, and I went and saw that. Anyway, a few months after the station went back on the air, ownership decided to switch to a Christian music and talk format, and simulcast it with our sister station that was in Giddings. And we were out of work again, and I never worked in radio again. My mom gave me a chance to go to Houston and look for opportunities there, and I regretfully said no. In the ensuing years, I heard spots on KTM and Cool 105 before it became US 105, looking for on-air help, but I didn't pursue those opportunities. Then later on came social media, live streaming, video sharing services like YouTube, and of course podcasting. In fact, I kind of consider this show, as well as a new podcast I've started called Chris's Mystery Show, kind of picking up on where I left off back then. And over the years I've wondered how far I might have gone in broadcasting. Would I have ended up on a network, syndication, or would I have stayed in my home area, at least my home state? And I also might have done some television. Anyway, local news, we covered, there was a school board and city election, and there were a few wrecks and stuff. Nationally, there was the protests and the crackdown in Tiananmen Square, and also there was the murder of television actress Rebecca Schaefer, who had been on the TV series My Sister Sam a few years ago, and she was killed by a crazy fan. And there was also the San Francisco earthquake during the 1989 World Series. The Michigan won the NCAA basketball tournament. The Detroit Pistons won the NBA title. In hockey, the Calgary Flames won the Stanley Cup, and the Oakland A's won the World Series. I went and saw the Rangers play the A's the night after Nolan Ryan recorded his 5,000th career strikeout. And a few days later, Baseball Commissioner A. Bartlett Giamatti announced that Cincinnati Reds manager Pete Rose, who was baseball's all-time hits leader, was banned from baseball for life for allegedly betting on baseball while he was managing the Cincinnati Reds. And a few days later, Mr. Giamatti died of a heart attack. We also took part at the station on a national songwriting contest that was sponsored by KFC. And where they would send off you write a song, they would send it off to Nashville, and the winner that was picked locally, if they didn't win the whole contest, the contest I think was they got the song would be recorded by a country star in Nashville. Anyway, the local winner won a keyboard, and I was working on the air when he came and picked it up, and it was a huge thing. He was surprised at how big it was. I got my taxes done on a Tuesday. Also, I have some Facebook friends with birthdays on Friday, or this past week. See here, Jonathan on Thursday, and Robin and Tessa on Friday. Some notable people were born back in the spring and summer of '89. Be like conservative talk show host Candace Owens, Joe Jonas of the Jonas Brothers, Riley Keough, an actress who was also Elvis Presley's granddaughter, basketball player James Harden, and we lost legendary actresses Lucille Ball and Betty Davis, as well as legendary cartoon voice actor Mel Blanc. I had over 35 views of my. I had posted a video of it raining the other day, and I posted it on my social media. I had 36 views on Facebook and over 700 views on Twitter. Anyway, the Chris Show is written, produced, and hosted by Chris Carlisle. It's available on Spreaker, Google Podcasts, iHeart, Spotify, and Deezer. Be sure to leave a like or review. I've had 51 downloads so far. And leave a comment if you wish. Until then, see you later. Have a good day.